Hey Facebook, how are we? So, today's the first day back in the office. Have you had a good day? Has everyone had a good day? So we had an interesting day, busy as usual, as you would expect. And I set myself a goal of trying to do a Facebook Live into this group every day in 2019. And it is day 2 and I totally forgot until like 5 minutes ago. So here I am, basically sat in my scruffs ready to go to bed, and I thought, shit, I promised I'd do it, so I have to do it. So here I am, very public promise, and so I'm having to make it work. What I really wanted to kind of just reflect on, I was sat here, and the reason I think I remembered this late at night was because I was sitting reflecting on my day, reflecting on what I've done, and actually realizing that it was quite hard for me to get back into the swing of things today. I don't know whether you guys have experienced that, but it felt a little bit like a little bit hard work. I had so many emails to get through. I had so many things to catch up on. We've got our mastermind day tomorrow, so we were prepping all of that stuff. Obviously, we've not been able to get hold of the venue or anything for a few days, so there was quite a lot to get through today. We got it all done, but it just felt like I hit the ground running and kind of had to go crazy. So I was sitting here tonight reflecting on, you know, what's been happening today. And I thought to myself, do you know what? Forgetting stuff and getting caught up in the churn is probably quite a common situation for most of you, because you've probably got loads of different things going on at any one time. You know, you're focused on different targets, different activities, viewings, offers, all these different things. And so I thought I'd just maybe give a bit of a tip on things that you can do right now to help you get back into the swing of things after the Christmas period, and things that I'm going to implement myself, and I've sat and done this actually today. So the first one is to plan tomorrow tonight. So if you haven't done it yet, for you to make sure that you get the very best out of tomorrow, one of the things that I find really helps me is if I sit and think about what I want to achieve tonight, rather than waiting until tomorrow morning and then being really reactive in terms of what happens. You know, sometimes I'll open my phone in the morning and I'll have an email that I wasn't expecting and it completely throws my day out. So instead, what you can do is if you plan your minimum expectations that you've got for tomorrow tonight, then you wake up and you can just kind of get on with it without having to think, what am I doing today? What is the plan? Where am I going to? So some of the ways that I do that, one, I'll write a to-do list or a not to-do list. Sometimes on my not to-do list is don't just scroll through Facebook for hours wasting time. You know, those sorts of things can be on there. But the to-do list really needs to be the things that you have to do, the actions you have to take to actually progress towards your goal, whatever it is. So it shouldn't necessarily be my goal is, so for example, I don't know, 5 offers out. It needs to be the things you need to plan are what are the steps you need to take to get to 5 offers out. Does that make sense? So if you sit and plan that tonight, you're more likely to be able to hit the ground running tomorrow morning, to be able to just start working towards your goal sooner, rather than letting the day kind of take over and you get to the end of the day and you've forgotten everything, or you've not achieved what you set out to achieve. Ultimately, the relentless, consistent actions that you take are the things that are going to bring you the results. So if you can get into a habit of doing this the night before, your days will become far more efficient, your time will become more streamlined, and you'll be able to fit more in. And whether that's more work, or whether that is more time with your family, or whether that's more time in the gym, or whatever it is that you need more time for, the more efficient you can be with your planning, the more likely you are to get it done. So, number 1, plan tomorrow tonight, right? The second thing, and by the way, hello to everybody who's on tonight. I can see a little list of you. Cesar, hello. I think you're on holiday, so amazing that you're on Facebook. Sarah, Julie, AJ, Luke, Quasi, there's loads of you on. Welcome. Hello. Happy New Year to you all. So what we're talking about tonight, guys, those of you who just joined, are 3 things that you can do right now to get back into the swing of things after the festive season. I don't know about you guys, but it took me a little bit to get up this morning and get going. I'm always really excited when I get up and I'm always really keen to get on with it, but it did feel a little bit like I was kind of hitting just craziness again, all like in 1 second. So I thought I'd just share a few tips as to what I think you guys can do to get back into the swing of things if you're struggling at all, like I was. So the second one is to reconnect with people. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, quite often I speak to so many people so often I try really hard to make sure that, one, I remember everything, everybody's names, all those sorts of things. Sometimes it's not possible. I'm not actually great with names. I'm great with faces, but I can always know I've met you and where I met you, but I sometimes don't remember your name. But it's really important that you reconnect with the people that you've met, spoken to, networked with, maybe people that you met last year who you couldn't help or couldn't do anything for last year, that actually, if you reconnected with them now, you might be in a different position, they might be in a different position, and you might actually be able to help each other now. So by reconnecting with them, putting the feelers out, touching base, having a coffee, maybe even just sort of sending a WhatsApp backwards and forwards, what you can ultimately do is start to open up your pool of people that you can work with in 2019. Now, reconnecting with people and continuing the relationships that you've got, even if they're people that you couldn't help previously or couldn't help you previously, doesn't mean that you can't help them now. Yeah. And so by reconnecting, what you actually do is you re-spark that relationship that could lead you down a path that you weren't expecting, or could you lead you through a door that actually opens something else for you. You know, by reconnecting with your network that you've already got, it saves you the time, the effort, and the energy having to go out and build another network. Does that make sense? Or additional layers of your network. And this is a really great time for you to kind of reconnect with people that you've maybe not spoken to for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12 months, whatever it is. I find that at this sort of time of year, so we're doing an activity at the minute where we're basically ringing through our investor list to see who's still looking for deals. You know, some people decide that property's not for them. Some people have built a portfolio of rent to rents now, but actually now want to do developments. We need to reconnect on that basis and actually check whether we're even sourcing the right sorts of things for them. We need to check what their budgets are now. Their budgets might have gone up or down. You know, we need to check that they're still looking in the same locations. We need to really make the effort to have a conversation with the people that we've connected with in the past. And January is a really, really great time to do that, because it's kind of a fresh start, clean slate. It's an opportunity for you to open the doors again and start moving things forward. So one of the things that I'd recommend you do from tomorrow, and maybe put this in tip number 1, which was plan tomorrow tonight, put in your plan for tomorrow to maybe reconnect with even just one person that you connected with last year but didn't really continue to kind of work with or talk to because at the time it wasn't quite right. Put the feelers out, reconnect with them, talk to them, see whether there's anything that you can help them with at the moment. And you might find that actually that opens up opportunities for you now, January, this quarter, this year, whatever it looks like. Make the effort to actually go out and talk to people. You speak to more people more often, you'll do more deals. More people or more often, you'll make more money. I learned that when I was in recruitment, and it's something that's absolutely rung true in every aspect of my businesses since I was in recruitment when I was like 19, 20, something like that. So yeah, reconnect. Tip number 2 is reconnect with people that you've already connected with previously, whether it was at networking events. I don't know if you're anything like me and you've got a drawer full of business cards of people that you've called or had a conversation with but haven't actually done business with yet. Pick the phone up to those people. Make an effort to have conversations with those people. You know, the agents that you spoke to in 2018 who hung up on you, told you no, rejected your offers, whatever it was. Reconnect with those people, talk to them again, have conversations with them and find out whether now they're in a different position, whether now they've got the stock that you need, whether now that deal that you wanted that got rejected, they might be open to accepting that offer. Whatever it is that you need to do, pick the phone up, have a conversation with more people more often by reconnecting rather than having to work hard to connect in the first place. And you find that actually those doors will start to open. So that's tip number 2. I've written them down because it's late and I would have forgotten these live. So tip number 3 is for those of you that have just joined. This live is really one part of my promise to the community, which was to put a Facebook Live out every single day in 2019. I'm already in day 2 and I basically forgot until now, 9 o'clock-ish. So that's why it's late. So thank you for your patience. But secondly, it's really actually about sharing with you just some ideas and suggestions that I've got that will help you get back into the swing of things. I don't know about you, but if you were back in the office today, I took a little bit of time to switch back on. It took a pretty strong coffee this morning to kickstart my engines. And so I thought I'd just share some thoughts on how, if you are struggling with that stuff, you could make the most out of tomorrow in a slightly different way. So the third one that I wanted to share with you is reflection. Taking the time every day to sit and reflect over what you've done today and what that's meant to you in terms of how you feel about it, whether it's positive, negative, whether it's impacted you in a good way or not, whether it's something you'd want to repeat or not, whether you've actually contributed any positive energy into the world at all, and whether any positive energy has been contributed to you, whether you've got anything to be grateful for. Yeah. And I'm not talking about necessarily the big things. I'm not talking about things like, oh, I've made loads of money today, or I bought a new car today, or those sorts of things. I'm talking about just the basic stuff in life that we should just be quite grateful for. The fact that coffee exists is one of my reflexive points that I'm always very grateful for that. For the next few months, normally I'm grateful for wine, but actually I'm not drinking for a period of time while I train for my marathon. So it won't be wine for a little while. It'll be coffee for a long time. But in all seriousness, reflect on what's been. As I sit here and think about what's happened today, there's been some good stuff, there's been some bad stuff, there's been some honesty and conversations that have been had. There's some realizations that I've had about some stuff that's been going on in business that I needed to fix. I've absolutely had an opportunity this evening to sit and really think about that while I've got kind of a quiet 10 minutes. And I don't know about you guys, but I find it quite therapeutic, I guess, to get things out of my head and down on paper. It means I can close the loop in my head. I don't know if anyone's read, I think it's 4 Hour Work Week, where Tim Ferriss talks about loops and open loops. If you haven't read that book, you should. But he talks about being able to close a loop in your head, because open loops in your head of things you needed to do or think about always open up when you're in the worst possible place, like when you're driving and you can't write it down, or you're in the queue in the bank and you can't do anything about it because you've got no battery in your phone. And then because you've thought about that loop, that thing you needed to do, but you haven't closed the loop, ultimately you end up forgetting about it for days. And that's basically the concept of open loops. So for me, I have open loops all the time of all the different millions of things that I'm thinking about all the time. And so I find it quite helpful, quite powerful, quite useful and therapeutic to just write this stuff down. And I will share a link in the comments to the journal that I use in my business. It's a journal that my team and I, Kelly and myself, we worked on over last year to actually structure a journal that worked for us running a property business. And so I use my own journal, if that makes sense, but I'll stick a link in so it might be helpful for you guys if you wanted to get a copy. But in it, there's a section that talks about reflection and talks about what you're grateful for, what your big wins were, what your learnings were for the day. And for me, as I sit here, the first day back after Christmas and New Year, having not eaten any food compared to what I've eaten over Christmas, so I'm sitting quite hungry. I'm back on my healthy kick now, and I'm thinking to myself, do you know what? It's been a good day. I've learned a lot today. I've learned a lot about myself today. I've learned a lot about my team today. There's been lots of really positive things that have happened in the business that are going to be able to push us forward. Now, it's only when I sit at the end of the day and reflect on what's been that I can really get to grips with some of that. Sometimes when you are in the thick of it, and someone doesn't answer the phone or your offer gets rejected. I had an offer rejected today as well on a development. He's kicked back my offer. I made 3 different offers on the same site and he's binned all of them off. So I'm a bit pissed off about that, but it's part of what it is. And now my job is to go back and kind of think about how we can make it more of a suitable solution for that guy, so that he does accept my offer, but we're working on it. So when I was in that place today and our offer got rejected, I was pissed off. I was like, oh, I wanted that deal and I really do want this deal, it's a really, really good deal. But actually now I've had time to think about it and reflect on it, and I've stuck it in the journal and I've really processed it. I can see that that's not necessarily a terrible thing. It just means I've got a little bit more work to do to try and figure it out. And sometimes when you give yourself the time to really think about what's been, that's when you can, once you've processed it, you can really make sense of it. And rather than reacting emotionally in the moment, in the heat of the moment, and making kind of, I could have got really grumpy about that deal today, but instead I didn't. And now I just feel quite positive about it. I'm just thinking of ideas and solutions to be able to go back to him with to kind of reoffer on it. So the third tip really is about taking the time to write in a journal or journal in some way what your wins have been in the day, what's been good, what's been bad. That way I find that, one, I can download what's in my head and I sleep better, because that's always a good thing. But also what tends to happen is if I can recognize that there are things I could have improved or done better or done differently, I can try to then take the steps that I need to make sure I don't do those things again. You know, nobody's perfect. I make mistakes all the time in my business, sometimes with the people in my business, sometimes with the clients. You know, nobody's perfect. But if you can recognize the things that have gone wrong, you've got more of a chance of fixing them. But unless you can physically see that or take it out of your head and reflect upon it, it's really hard to do. So keeping a journal is absolutely what I would recommend as my third tip for this evening. So 3 things that you can do right now to get back into the swing of things. So guys, there's quite a few of you on this evening. Thank you very much for joining me. Is there any questions or anything you guys want to bang into the comments while I'm on here? The point of these lives I'm going to be doing throughout 2019 are really to add as much value to this community as I possibly can. Hopefully to download just some of the stuff that's in my head about what we do in the business that can help you to make 2019 the best year that it can be. So if you have got any questions, stick them in the comments box. Let's have a quick look through. Hey Kudrat, how are you? I can see that you've said hello. Hey Luke, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Luke. Luke, who's one of our masterminders, which I'm going to tell your secrets, Luke, has had viewings on his first HMO today and has filled rooms for the first time ever. So I'm super proud of you. Well done. Very, very cool. Who else we got on here? Emma, hello. How are you? I've been really good today. Training, marathon training. So Emma is my marathon accountability partner. We are doing a 20-mile run in March together. She's going to be getting me ready for the marathon so I don't die. That is the objective. I did a video last night about my goals for this year, which were to run a marathon and not die and to build 20 houses. And Emma is my accountability partner for that. So hello, Emma. How are you? Amazing, amazing, amazing. So there's quite a few of you. There's a couple of questions, but I think I've kind of answered most of them already. And Luke, you're very welcome. I'm really excited to hear what you've been up to. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for hanging out with me for 10 minutes or so. Have an amazing rest of your evening. I look forward to hearing what's going on in this community over the next few weeks, few months, few days, etc. It's going to be really good fun. Make sure you update me with your goals and your progress and all those sorts of things. And it's because I'm always very excited to see what's going on. Have an amazing evening. I'll catch up with you tomorrow.